Hi guys, and welcome to Escape Wheel Watch Reviews. My name is Steve, and today we're going to be reviewing the Seestern S446. I purchased this watch with earnings from this channel, so again, thank you guys so much for the continued support. I am happy to be a guinea pig, happy to get these things on camera for you and show them to you before you spend your hard-earned money. Let me take the hit for you. Again, thankfully, this one is pretty dang good. So if you guys are interested in picking this up, like always, down in the video description, there will be a link that is an affiliate link. You guys don't pay any extra. I just get a little bit of commission, and that helps keep the channel running so I can purchase more watches like these for you guys. So again, thank you guys so much for the continued support. The retail price for this watch is $225 US. That's before any taxes, sales, coupons, etc. I picked this up a couple weeks ago and I paid around $215. Seestern, they do participate in the sales, so if you guys are patient, unlike me, you can probably save yourself a little bit more money than that. So yeah, keep an eye on this one in the sales. The watch comes in 7 different colorways that you can see here on screen. This cream dial is probably the most boring of the bunch, as all the others have some sort of a sunburst or vertical striping going on. They all look really, really good though. I'm happy to see them come out with a lot of different colors in this model. The watch case is made of 316L stainless steel. It has a sapphire crystal, a screw-down crown, a screwed-in case back, 100 meters of claimed water resistance, and the watch is powered by the Seiko NH34 automatic movement. And then you also get their new packaging. I usually don't talk about packaging, but I figure it's updated, it's new, it's interesting, and it looks pretty good. So yeah, it's kind of this, I'm trying to get it on camera here, kind of this faux leather outside to get your Sugas and Seestern branding there. They are sister companies. But yeah, it looks really good. It feels pretty solid. And then you got this little latch here. You open it up, you got your instructions, warranty card, which is actually working and signed and everything. This is where the watch goes. You got your tool that came with it. Yeah, everything functions. I mean, it's packaging. I don't put too much emphasis on packaging, but this is actually pretty interesting, pretty good packaging, so I figured it might be worth a shout out. So, I mean, let's get right to it. The Grand Seiko SBGM221 is a beautiful watch at an unattainable, for me, price point. So really, this is a great way to get the look and the feel for a fraction of the price. Obviously, I know that it can't go head-to-head and compete and compare head-to-head with that watch. But, you know, how does the watch stand on its own? You know, it's a $225 automatic GMT dress watch. Yeah, I mean, yeah, how is it standing on its own? So I say we dig in, let's find out how good it is, and yeah, we'll get into this review. But before we do, doing a quick wrist check today. Wearing a watch that I really do need to review for you guys. This is the 37mm Spectin Sewn PRX automatic. This one should be up on the channel next, I think. So keep an eye out for that. All right, so first things first, as always, get into the dimensions. Got a diameter of 39.4 millimeters, a thickness of 13.0 millimeters, 19 millimeter lug width, lug tip to lug tip of 46.9 millimeters, total length of 51.6 millimeters, and on the supplied strap, sized up for my 7.5-inch wrist with 2 links removed, weighs 133 grams. So like most of you guys, I was a little bit concerned about the size, but I have to say I'm pleasantly surprised with it. In my opinion, it wears smaller than that, nearly 40 millimeters. It's almost like I would say like maybe a 38.5 millimeter size. It wears great. I've got really no complaints with it. A short lug to lug, thin lugs, and being all polished probably helps in that a little bit. But yeah, I think it wears really good. You can see it's got nice turn down to the lug tips there as well. And yeah, I think the 13 millimeter thickness there's at least 3 millimeters in that crystal. So yeah, I am overall pretty satisfied with it. The case itself is probably pretty close to 10 millimeters thick. So it doesn't wear overly thick on wrist. I think it wears really good. So I'm going to go outside right now and throw it on my wrist for you. And here we are on my 7.5-inch wrist. And as I said, I mean, it just kind of wears smaller than I expected it to. I expected it to wear like a 40. It's more closer to a 38, maybe 38.5. I think it wears great. You can see there, nice turn down to the lugs as well. A lot of that height is eaten up in the case back and that crystal, so it wears pretty thin on wrist. I'm overall pretty darn satisfied with the way this thing wears. See the indices and the hands catching the light nicely in this under this tree here. Very satisfied with it. Bracelet fits me just perfect with 2 links removed, and it's very comfortable and balanced on wrist there. Yeah, I am I'm really happy with the way this watch wears. I was quite surprised. I was a little worried about it, but you know, it wears good. I'm very happy. And getting into some direct sunlight here, you can see plenty of AR coating on the crystal. It keeps the dial nice and legible, even directly with the light right there. I mean, it's fantastic. Really happy with the crystal on this thing. There you can see the dial color a little bit better. It's a nice creamy color. I think it looks good. It looks really good. All that polishing looks excellent as well. Very satisfied with the way this watch looks. All right, let's go throw this on some straps and we'll get back to this review. And here we are on a dark blue leather strap. I think that actually looks pretty darn good. I like it because it matches that blue on the GMT hand and goes pretty well with the cream dial in my opinion. What do you think of that one? I'll be leaving a link for these ones down below. They're actually pretty nice. They just arrived today, and yeah, they look good and they feel good, so I figure I'll drop a link down in case you're interested in them. And here we are on a dark brown leather strap again. Same strap, just different color. Yeah, I think it works really nice. And again, leave the link down below for this one. Brown goes really nice with that cream color dial in my opinion. And this thing just, oh, I just love this watch. So nice. And lastly, here we are on an all black leather strap. A little bit different than the one that came in the box, but still looks really good on it in my opinion. Yeah, this thing's kind of a strap monster. You throw pretty much any color at it, it's going to look good, especially with that cream dial. Yeah, I think all these are going to look really nice. So, yeah, there you go, guys. Let me know what you think. Let's get back to this review. All right, so let's talk about the case finishing on this thing. Case finishing is super simple. It is fully polished, 100% polished. I don't see any brushing on this case at all. So, high polishing on the tops of the lugs there. You do also have a chamfer on the lugs there too, so it adds a little bit of dimension to it, just like the watch that it's copying. Flipping it to the case sides here, you can see nice and smooth polishing. There's no real ripples in it or anything like that. It looks fantastic. Obviously, it's not Zaratsu polishing, but it is really good polishing. I've got no complaints with it at all. You can see there, it does have nice turn down to the lugs like I mentioned before, and drilled lugs. So that is nice to see as well. Overall, yeah, I am very satisfied with the polishing on this thing. You know, getting up real close, even the bezel is polished, fully polished. But yeah, getting up real close here, you can see there's just nothing really to complain about. It is very nicely done. You have a fully polished crown here, nice knurling on the crown, plenty of grip. But yeah, really, really happy with this watch as far as the case finishing goes. It's simple, so there's not a whole lot that they can mess up with, but yeah, they did a good job polishing it up. And flipping it to the case back here, you can see it is a screwed in case back. It's not a screw down case back, so it's screwed in with 6 screws there. Yeah, no real complaints about it. Nice kind of domed here. I will test that for sapphire here in just a moment. I'm guessing it's mineral, but I really don't know. But yeah, nice and smooth. It's soft. Underside of the case is also polished. Everything is just soft. That's all I can say. It's very comfortable on wrist, and I'm very satisfied with it. You got the display window there showing off the not so pretty Seiko NH34, but it is there to see. So yeah, I think it looks all really, really good. Very happy with the case finishing on this watch. All right, so let's talk about the crystal on this thing. First things first, we'll test it for sapphire. It is positive for sapphire. Flip it over, do the case back here. Case back is just mineral. So no surprise there, mineral on the back, but a nice piece of double domed boxed shape sapphire crystal. It's really, really nice. There's a little tiny tint of blue AR coating, but the blue tint is pretty minimal in my opinion, and the AR coating is hefty. So I think they chose a great crystal for this thing. You can see here, it sits up proud of the bezel, about 3 millimeters, and then most of these box crystals, they kind of go up and then they're just flat across the top. This one is actually domed even more so. So I'd say it's probably 2 millimeters at the edge, probably 3 millimeters at the top. But it looks really, really good. I'm very happy with it. You can kind of see some distortion right there. It's really an interesting distortion, but it is there. Very minimal though. So even at the high angles like this, you can see very clearly that dial. So yeah, really, really happy with that. Nice distortion on the edges. It looks great. Looks really, really good. You got a nice thin polished rehaut there as well. So using that boxed and domed crystal there. Allows the rehaut to be razor thin, and you know, those hands are just kind of eaten up inside of that crystal there. So yeah, really happy with the crystal on this thing. It looks fantastic. All right, so let's talk about the dial on this thing. So the dial on this one is a beautiful enamel cream dial, glossy. You can see the reflection of that seconds hand there. So it's a nice glossy dial. It's very shiny. And I'm going to give you some idea of the color on this thing. So here is a pure white dial, the Escapement Time. I'm not even sure the model number on this one, but the Escapement Time Dress Chrono. So yeah, that is it against a white dial. We've got a Chamois. This is the King Seiko homage. This is another cream dial. It kind of leans more towards white than it does cream, but definitely a creamy color. And then here we have the Alpha Paul Newman Daytona. So that is a little bit more creamy. So that's just to give you an idea the color of this dial. I think it's a nice color. Yeah, it does look really, really good. I'm very happy with it. The applied indices are done very nicely. You have single batons at all the hour markers. You do have kind of these double, they are still single batons, but kind of double faceted ones there at the 12, 6, and 9. I wish they would have put one at the 3 o'clock. It looks a little funny, but it's a very minor thing. But I think the polishing on those is done really nicely. You can see they catch the light and sparkle really good. Very happy with those. I mean, just getting up close to them, you guys can see here. Really nice, sharp polishing on those things. The handset that they use on this, flat GS style hands, they look fantastic. They look really good, really sharp. Even under macro, they look good. Yeah, overall, very satisfied with that. You have your blued GMT hand. It's not a painted blue, which is nice. I don't think it's heat treated blue. It's probably like a chemically treated or maybe a plated blue or something. But yeah, it definitely looks really nice. It catches the light nicely. Adds a little bit of pop of color to the dial. Even the 24-hour scale in the middle there is done nice and sharp. I am overall very satisfied with the printing on it. The applied indices, they are nice. They sparkle nice. They catch the light nice. The hands are good. The legibility is actually pretty good on this model. I was quite surprised by that. And it's nice that they did frame that date window there, and the date window sits in there nicely. Overall, very satisfied with the dial on this thing. They did a really good job on it. I've got really no complaints with it. And there's no lume on it either, so we don't even have to worry about that. All right, so let's talk about the movement in this thing. So the movement is the Seiko NH34 GMT automatic. It's a bidirectional winding rotor, so you don't have any rotor spinning around, which is nice. 21,600 beats per hour, so there's your nice sweep of the second hand. 6 ticks every second. About 40 hours of power reserve. It hacks, it hand winds, it does everything you need it to do. It's cheap, it's reliable, easy to find parts for, easy to fix, easy to replace. I mean, it's a great movement. I've got no complaints with it at all. Mine has been running very nicely, plus 5 seconds a day, with a nice solid beat error as well. So I really have no complaints with this movement at all. The movement is operated by this 3 o'clock screw down crown. Again, nicely signed, nice grip on the crown, nice size. Everything functions as it should. I've had no issues with the threading. It's nice and smooth. You get a nice pop out from the NH34. First position is your hand winding, nice and smooth, just as you would expect from an NH34, NH35. This first position here is where you set your date and your GMT hand. So you roll it back, that changes the date, and everything is centered in there nicely. I'll move those hands out of the way here in just a second. You roll it forward, and that jumps your GMT hand, and it jumps kind of right into place. Looks good, feels good, nice solid feedback. Again, no real complaints with that at all. Pulling it out to the last position here hacks the movement, and this is where you set your time. Everything functions as it should. There's no real slop in the crown. Everything functions nicely. You can see there's just a teeny tiny bit of wobble on this thing, but when you're really pushing on it, there's no real sway in it. So very happy with the crown action on this thing. It feels solid. It picks up the threads right away. It's nice and smooth. Yeah, no real complaints with this at all. I think it feels good. I think it's a great movement, and mine has been running great. So yeah, overall, very satisfied with the movement in this thing. All right, so let's talk about the bracelet on this thing. So the bracelet, like I mentioned earlier, it is 19 millimeters at the lugs, and it does taper down to 16 millimeters at the clasp. You have 5 links here. So if you're getting real close, you can see those polished links. They are separate little pieces. Polishing is done pretty good. The brushing is not great. Yeah, you can see here, it's nice and consistent on the end links. You can see there, but when you get to the links themselves, the brushing doesn't follow the same direction as the end links do. So you can see right here on this second link here, it's kind of an angle down, and that's kind of consistent throughout. So the brushing is not great. It's one of those things where you do notice it, but on wrist you really don't notice it. They could just tidy that up some and it would be a lot better. You have polishing on the side links there. Polishing is done nicely. This bottom edge is nice and soft as well. The bracelet seems pretty fluid. The tolerances are pretty good. It doesn't feel jangly or sound jangly on wrist or anything like that. You do have screw pins for adjusting. The tool that they provided works just fine, and I had to remove 2 links for my 7.5-inch wrist. Yeah, I mean, the bracelet is fine. I got no major complaints with it, besides the brushing. It's just not great. It's not terrible. I guess I've seen worse, but yeah, the fact that it's such a fine brushing helps, I guess. If it was more of a coarse brushing, it would be a bigger knock on it. But yeah, it's just something that they could pay attention to. And I mean, it might just be mine, because on this side here, it looks pretty good, pretty consistent and straight. It doesn't look as bad as this side does. So yeah, just something that Seestern, if you're watching, you need to concentrate on a little bit more. So, but yeah, the bracelet itself, nice and fluid, like I said, and it is comfortable. The end links, nice and tight tolerances in there. They don't wiggle or wobble or anything like that. The only thing I can really complain about here is the fact that the links on the bracelet, the little polished parts, you can definitely see they're more flat. And then you get to the polished parts of the end links, and they're kind of more rounded on the top. So they don't flow particularly well. It's another minor thing. It probably bothers me is more than it should, but it's something that they could definitely do and fix. But they didn't do that. Obviously a cost-cutting measure, but yeah, that's just something I noticed. But the fact that they give you a bracelet is pretty nice, and it is a pretty good bracelet. Working our way down to the clasp here, you can see you have your Seestern branded clasp, fully milled on the inside, nice tight tolerances. Everything functions as it should. It was pretty stiff right out of the box, but it has since loosened up the more I use it. So pretty satisfied with that. Brushing on the sides here, nice polished chamfer there. So yeah, it works just fine on this bracelet. 2 micro adjust levels there. I wish they'd add another one and maybe extend this just a little bit, but I do like the smaller clasp. It does feel pretty balanced on wrist. So overall, I am satisfied with the bracelet on this thing. And the nice thing about this is, at least for now, I don't know if this is a limited time thing, but they are providing you with a free leather strap. These straps are pretty comfortable, actually. I was quite surprised, and I'm happy that they included them, because I don't have any 19mm leather straps on me right now. I'm shooting this prior to my wrist shots. Hopefully I'll have some more colors for you for those wrist shots. But yeah, these are pretty nice, 19mm tapered to 18mm. Seestern branded buckle there. Yeah, they're fine. I like the texture on them. These are kind of similar to those vintage watch straps that I have purchased for around $9. So they're nothing fancy. Don't go in expecting a really great strap, but they look good. They're comfortable. Quick release spring bars. Nice hardware. Hard to complain, especially as a freebie. So yeah, really happy that they included these in the box. So there you go, guys. That is the Seestern S446. Really nice new release from Seestern. I'm kind of curious why they went with the Seestern branding. I know I talked to them a little bit ago, and they are kind of doing some restructuring, I guess, inside the company. So I would have actually liked to see this under the Seiko branding. That's just me personally. The Seestern branding, I feel, is more for some sport watches. Seiko should be for dress watches, but that's just kind of my feeling. Yeah, obviously I have no say in it, but yeah, Seestern branding, it looks fine. It just could be nicer with that Seiko, that Seiko script logo, in my opinion. But yeah, nice watch. I got no complaints. $225 for a watch with this case shape and size. The NH34 is rock solid, a beautiful crystal, really nice case finishing and dial finishing. It's hard to complain, guys. Yeah, I know this is getting up there. $225 for a watch like this. It's in the upper realm of the AliExpress watches, but I'm actually pretty satisfied with this thing, and I'm really satisfied with the way it wears. I was kind of expecting this to be thicker and bigger in diameter than it wears. Thankfully, it wears pretty thin and wears pretty small, so I'm pretty satisfied with that. And they threw in a nice bonus with the free strap and the new box, $225, guys. So if you guys want to check this out, like I said, go down in the video description. That will be the link, and pick one up. I think you guys are going to be pretty satisfied with it. I think that's it for me. Thanks a lot for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one. See ya.